If there's a Muslim who says La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, but he's engaging in sinful actions, you should not label people, you should not categorize people. Why? Because the ends, we don't know. He could be a fasiq now, but how's he going to die? He could be from the awliya when he dies. And there are many, many instances of awliya. You read the biographies of Rabi al-Adawiyya, one of the worst women before, one of the best women after. Ibrahim ibn Adham, he was a highway robber, and he became from the greatest awliya. Sayyidina Umar radhiyallahu anhu, one of the worst in kufr, one of the best in Islam, and one of the best in Islam. So if you're making judgments now as hal, you don't know how he's going to end. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking at the ends of the affairs. So we say he's engaged in fisq. We say he's engaged in fisq. That's for us. Now the qadi in an Islamic state can pass a specific judgment. Qadi in an Islamic state can say, okay, Ra'it al-Hilal, for example. No, he's a fasiq. He drinks. We can't accept his citing the new moon. Why? Because he's engaged in fisq, so we can't accept his citing. So the qadi can pass a judgment, but that's restricted to the qudat, to the judges. But for us, if we see somebody engaged in sin, our response should be respond based upon love, not based upon hatred. Our hatred is fisq. So the fact that he's drinking alcohol upsets you, and it creates worry in your heart, because he could die in that state. He could die in that state. But your reaction should not be just something to go and browbeat him over, just like with a stick to go with him. Your love towards him is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided me, alhamdulillah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if His mercy remains with me, and that's the hope, He'll admit me to Jannah. Why can't He have that as well? So your love motivates him, so you can pass him possible hidayah. But if your motivation was that he's a fasiq, the end consequence is that he's a fasiq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala won't guide him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala won't guide him. And that's why in the hadith the Prophet said, Man qala halaka an-nas fahuwa ahlakuhum. Whoever says people are ruined, he's the most ruined out of all of them. Fahuwa ahlakuhum. If I say he's a fasiq, he's a dhal, he's this and that, ultimately it's me who's in that state, because I'm just reflecting my state. I'm reflecting my inner realities, that all I can see is the bad within people. I can't see that that's a khalq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a creation who's got so much potential to do good. So much potential within that human being. Every human being has so much potential within him. But all I can, and that's why ultimately, there's a relation from Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, that he was with the Hawariyin, with his disciples one time. He was passing by a group of rabbis, and the rabbis had problems with him. So they insulted him, they called him all kinds of zindiq, this and that, called him a heretic and so on. And his response was wassalamu alaikum. That was his own response, wassalamu alaikum. So the Hawariyin asked him, they insult you in this manner, and all you can give them is peace. He said, a vessel can only give out what's contained within it. A vessel can only give out what's contained within it. That's their internal state. They're reflecting their internal states. He's reflecting his internal state. So those people just like kafir, fasiq, their eyes are that. It's a reflection of where they're at in terms of their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prophet ﷺ, he refused, even though some Sahaba said, kill the munafiqeen amongst you, because he said, I don't want people to say, Inna Muhammadan yaqtul ashabahu. He knew who the munafiqeen were. I don't want people to say Muhammad ﷺ kills his own companions. He could, and he kept, from the vast majority of the Sahaba, he kept hidden who the munafiqeen were. So they don't go around brandishing and so that Sayyidina Umar would go to Hudayf and ask, who are the munafiqeen? He didn't know who they were. Prophet ﷺ kept that from the Sahaba, so they don't get into the case where they start like labelling people. So your hatred is for fisq, not the fasiq, not the fasiq. He's only a fasiq if he dies in that state. But even that fisq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can forgive him. And that's why in da'wah they'll say, نحن دعاة لسنا بقضاة. نحن دعاة لسنا بقضاة. We are callers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are not judges over people. Our responsibility is not to pass the hukm. That's with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yawm al-qiyamah. We go around passing hukm that he's a fasiq and he can look at him, he's drinking alcohol. In fact, he shouldn't even come into the mosque because of that. I mean, driving somebody who wants tawbah, he shouldn't come into the mosque because he's a fasiq and he's this and he's that, which goes against the da'wah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He had the worst people come into the masajid. And we've locked the doors of the masajid. He had the worst Bedouins would come and urinate in the masajid. The worst of people, he was letting them come into the masajid. So we're passing hukm against people. But the hukm is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's not with us. Our response is just to convey the message. And part of that is the fault with du'at. One of the faults with da'iyas now is that they have decided that they're the cause of guidance. They're the cause of guidance. Not that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the cause of guidance. You're just a conveyor of the message. Nothing more, nothing less. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes you the cause of guidance, say alhamdulillah. Because there's nothing better for you as a da'iyah that somebody comes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through you. But you're not the one who's going to determine that you're the cause of the Islam of that person. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who decides that matter.
What if he was getting married and I was asked about him?
No. Then you should tell that person. Yeah, there's no ghiba in that. There's no backbiting in that. In the ahkam al-ghiba, the rules of ghiba, they mention specifically that as one of the instances. Where if somebody's proposed to a person, then you should not. But that's the point. That should only be current. That should only be current. If somebody led a bad life, I mean, I know of instances where people actually messed up marriage situations because of this. Somebody used to live a bad life, but he turned back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he left that way. And then they go and mention that he used to be like that. That's got nothing to do with the state now. If he's ongoing in fisk, if he's actually currently in that state, then yeah, you should tell that person that's what he's like. No. Allah. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.